I know you're not supposed to do this. I song wrote and drove.
Do you remember that feeling of like, I'm officially putting something out that's like solo?
Yeah, it was cool. I guess I'll just be candid with it. I'm 2 years sober now. There's a lyric in there that says, I've been 8 months sober, but she just want to party all night. It was just like a really like cathartic experience because I was processing all these emotions of like, do I want to drink again? Like this feeling of like being with somebody and like them feeling uncomfortable because I'm not getting drunk was like a new feeling for me.
You had dreads
But
at one
yeah,
point too, right?
we're not gonna talk about
Yeah.
that.
Why do you collaborate?
I'm not good enough without anybody else. My songs are trash without anybody else touching them. I love playing Fortnite with my friends.
Did you release your first music on SoundCloud?
Actually, YouTube is the first song I ever dropped. I did a remix of Over My Dead Body by Drake.
Did they go berserk? Did they love it?
Oh, they were going nuts. Yeah, they were going nuts.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Studio One. I am here with Caleb LaDuke. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks for coming in. At least going virtual and just hanging out with me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of
man.
course.
All right, we're gonna get into a couple quick intro questions, just kind of get people warmed up to you. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in like 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nice. So, are
Yeah.
you a Steelers fan?
I get asked this question so many times. Realistically, when I started doing music, I kind of just stopped like watching sports.
Mm,
I'll still play them for sure.
yeah.
But if I have to pick, obviously I'm gonna rep the Steelers,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah.
That's amazing. All right. How did you get into music? So, how long have you been doing music?
I've been doing music like officially for 6 years when I moved here to Nashville. So, I mean, but I kind of like grew up on it,
Mm,
was playing guitar since 12, writing songs and singing since I was 15. But really took it seriously after college.
mm.
And yeah.
Nice. Did you
So,
get influenced by someone like in your family to like start with music, or was it kind of just like an interest that you kind of like, oh, I want to learn guitar or piano, whatever it was?
yeah, actually my dad is a producer. He's
Nice.
a singer and piano player. At the time I was like, piano is really boring, so I'm gonna play
I
guitar.
feel like that's every
But
kid.
yeah, and then I eventually in college was like, guitar is like kind of boring right now, so I'm gonna play piano. Um, so it all came full circle. But yeah, my dad, I grew up like going to sessions with him.
That's so sick.
So
Have you
yeah.
guys ever collaborated on something, you and your dad?
One of my songs, I'd Be Okay, he actually mixed and mastered it. It was actually the song that I dropped when the day I moved here.
Dang,
So I dropped that song and he mixed and mastered it for me. So
that's so sick. That's kind of cool that he has like a
yeah.
little touch in that. Does
Yeah,
he still
yeah.
do it now, or is he kind of like he's kind of done?
He's doing it. He does it on the side, amongst other things.
Yeah.
So
That's so
yeah.
sick. I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What do you do like hobbies outside of music? So like I was saying earlier, but like a lot of times people are like, well, as a musician, they just do music. But like you guys also do other things. Like, are there anything that you
Yeah.
kind of like if you didn't do music, you're just chilling for
Yeah.
the night, what would be like the first thing you kind of pick up and do?
There's a couple things that I really like to do because I feel like I need something outside of music where I'm
Hmm.
not like creating or thinking super hard. I love playing Fortnite with my friends.
Nice.
Uh, we run Fortnite a lot in this house. I really like reading. I'm a big fantasy fiction guy.
Okay.
So, yeah, me and my brother like really like reading. So we'll just bounce books back and forth. And yeah. And then I also really like, what else do I like? Oh, I love cinematography. I
Mm,
love watching shows. I love watching movies. Um, yeah, and just like hanging out with friends.
yeah.
Like honestly, I don't really like going out. I'm not a going out kind of person.
Yeah.
I'm more of a like if I can have a good time with a couple of people that like I know really well, I am like more than happy. So,
Yeah. Is there a show or a movie right now that you're kind of like really digging?
rewatching Game of Thrones.
Okay. How many
Yeah,
seasons is that?
so
There was a lot of seasons of that.
it's like 7 or 8, but I never watched the last season. Um, Before that, I was watching From, which is like a horror, like I don't really watch scary movies, but
Oh,
like this
I
show
don't.
had me hooked. Yeah, I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight. Um, but yeah, those are kind of the shows I've been into
That's so sick.
recently.
If you haven't
Yeah.
watched this yet, I only got to watch half of it because my roommate was downstairs watching and I walked in. But I don't know if you
Mhm.
ever watched Tetris. I think it's called Tetris. It's
Mm.
like the movie about like the game Tetris.
Oh, I have watched
Have
it.
you watched that?
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like my friends like hate watching movies with me
Really?
because they'll be like, "How about this one?" I'm like, watched it. They'll be like, "How about this one?" Watched it. Like, like there's not many movies on Netflix that are good that I haven't watched because
Oh,
I love watching movies, man. I
that's
don't know
sick.
what it is,
I love
but
that. That's amazing.
yeah,
Perfect. Well,
yeah. So
yeah, thanks for sharing, dude.
yeah, man.
All right,
Thanks for
we're
asking.
gonna get into a quick game too. So another icebreaker.
All
This
right,
one is a new one. I
all right.
just made it up because I was like, this guy collaborates with so many people. So it is
Mm,
called "I Sang That with Who." So I'm
okay,
gonna test your knowledge on the songs that you've released and the artists that
uh-huh.
you've released them with. You ready
Okay.
for this?
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready. I'm
All
ready.
right, the first one
Hit me.
is called "Goodbye" and it was released in 2022. Who did
Mm.
you put that out with? And there's two people.
Okay. Yeah. So I went to a writing camp at Nate Rose's house. Shout out him, and I met a bunch of dope creatives. Me, Spencer, and Isaiah Leroy, and Mowgli the Iceberg
Mm,
all wrote that song. Mowgli produced it, and then Spencer and I are obviously like the artists featured on it.
yeah,
So that's honestly like one of my like favorite songs, and I like forget about it. I'm like, this song is so hard. Like, I'm like, we should do like I originally wanted to do a really dope like music video for it, but it just didn't work out.
yeah,
But it's always one of those ones that I'm like, I really like this song. I really mess with this song. So
I love that.
yeah.
The next one
Okay.
is Iced Out, and that was put out in 2018. So this one, I'm going down deep. This had
That's
one artist
crazy.
on it. Who is that artist that you collaborated with?
Um, that's my best friend. His name's Kenny, but he formerly known as Valley Ant. He goes by
Mhm.
Kenny the Cat now. Kenny and the Cat. I think he's still like fleshing it out, but
Yeah,
bro, we like literally wrote that. We were youth group leaders, and we wrote that for our like the youth group that we had
that's
like the work
amazing.
like the retreat with. So and they just like loved it. And I was like, yeah, it's just like, what if we just did iced out, iced out, iced out, iced out. Yeah. And it's like one of those songs that like you like look back and you're like, okay, I see what you were doing. Like, what like it wasn't horrible,
Yeah,
like, I'm like, not bad. Like, I like give myself a little pat. I'm like, not bad for what we were working with back then. Um,
that's sick.
yeah, that's wow, that's a blast from the past.
Did the kids? Did you guys perform that in front of the youth, like in the kids there? Did they go berserk? Did they love
Oh,
it?
they were going nuts. Yeah, they were going nuts. We released it and then performed it there and they loved it, man. They were going crazy.
That's
So
amazing. I love it.
yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. All right, the next one is Whisper, and this was in 2020, and you have an artist on
Jeez.
here. Who is that artist?
Cam Terrell,
Yep.
you know.
What's the story behind
Um
Whisper?
Man, I don't.
Or just
I haven't listened to that. I haven't listened to that song in so long. It's just like I don't even know, man. I think I just wrote it about if I can remember it, just like it was like a longing for like peace.
mm,
Trying to remember the lyrics.
I have to
It was
play.
like I wanted like God to like talk to me, even
Mm,
if it was just a whisper, you
yeah.
know.
Um,
I could be completely wrong, but I'm like reaching back into the depths of the past, like
dude, I went deep in this. I was like, I'm gonna really
yeah,
get.
I was like, bro, you're making me think about like 6 years ago. I'm like, I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday,
I love
but
it.
it's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, and yeah, I mean, Cam's a great. He's a phenomenal musician,
Mhm.
singer, writer, and piano player. So he really did his thing on that.
I love that. That's great. All right, the
Yeah.
next one is "Don't Stop Dreamin'," also in 2020, and you have another artist on this one. Who is that artist?
Mm. Sansol the artist.
Yep.
My boy Jeremy Claudio, he was one of the first people I met when I moved down to Nashville, and I'm
Mm,
not gonna lie to you, I was like, this has to be like the coolest but if not the coolest dude, one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. Like he was just like he had that like star presence, man.
Mm,
Like he just like he was performing on stage and I was like, bro, he's dope. So I remember just like being like, yo, like, do you need any help? That's literally what I said. I like don't know this guy at all. I'm like, hey, I'm Caleb. I'm like, do you need any help tearing down? Like,
yeah.
and from there, just I guess just my willingness to like help and like, be a helping hand. Like he was like, yo, let's kick it.
Mm,
And then he ended up producing some of my songs. My EP Girls, he produced one of the songs on that. And he's honestly like, shout out Sansel. He's one of like the most gifted and creative people I've ever met,
mm.
like ever in my life. So yeah,
That's sick.
I really like that one.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the last one is NYC, New York City. Who,
Mm.
and this was done in 2023 now. This is a newer one.
Mhm.
Who'd you release this with? And give the story behind it.
Yeah, this is my friend Kane Comfort. That's my boy. Shout out Kane.
Mm.
Yeah, I met him waiting tables, and I was like, "Oh, King Comfort. That sounds like an artist name." He's like, "Well, I am an artist." I was like, "Oh, well, I'm an artist." So I was like, "Yo, we should hang out or like kick it, you know?" And then we ended up just like going to the same gym and working out together all the time.
Mm,
And then we just, we were just like, we got together and I was like, bro, it was a period of my life where I like had insomnia. I
mm,
could not sleep at all. And so just kind of like writing this song that represents like New York City is the city that never sleeps.
yeah.
So like that's why like let's write a song about NYC. Um I'm not gonna lie, like that like verse on there of mine, like that's one of my like favorite coldest verses, in my opinion. That's one of
Yeah.
my coldest verses I've ever like penned.
Yeah.
So I really like that song, and Kay's a phenomenal artist.
Yeah.
So it's always I love collaborating with my friends.
Mm,
Like majority of the time, I don't think I've ever really collaborated with someone like I'm not like close with.
mm.
I'm not against it, but it just so happens that way. You
Yeah.
know.
That's dope. I love that. Well,
hmm
good job. You remembered all your collaborations, which is good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. I love that.
Jogging my memory for
Yeah.
sure.
Hey, I love
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Yeah.
So let's get into some more of the interview now, and we're gonna jump
Yeah.
into new music. And this is big because
Mm,
this interview is gonna be coming out a couple days after you release this new
yeah.
song called "Bad Influence." That
hmm
comes out January 31st. So if you're listening to this already, viewers, and it is after January 31st, you can go check it out at his
hmm
Spotify and all that stuff. But what is Bad Influence about? You've kind of teased it on Instagram a little bit, but give us kind of
Yeah.
like the general of like what is that song about?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll just be candid with it. I'm
Mm,
2 years sober now.
mm.
Um,
Dude, that's awesome.
I don't yeah, I
Congratulations.
don't drink anymore. At the time, there's a lyric in there that says, "I've been 8 months sober, but she just want to party all night.
Mm,
We kissed late October. She had a man, but she said it's all right." Um, and I was hanging with this girl, and at the time I was like, 8 months sober, like just trying to like lock that down. And this girl kind of, she liked to turn up,
mm,
So we're just hanging out. Um, and she said like she was a little uncomfortable with me like being sober and her like
mm,
not, she was like, "Come on, just have a drink, like, or like, just smoke some weed." And I was like, "Well, I'm not really doing that." And then in the course, I say, she feed me Xanax and she hold my hand. She said it's fine and it's just a half. And like, she like literally like she was like, "You want a Xanax?" Like, and I was like, "Nah, I've actually
mm,
never done that. I don't, I can't do that." She's like, "It's just a half. It's fine."
mm,
So the song "Bad Influence" is really all just about like being in a situation with a girl and her just like basically trying to be a bad influence on me and try and
mm.
like get me to do something that I didn't really want to do, you know?
Yeah.
So
Dang.
yeah.
What was that? It sounds like that writing process was like really real. Like you were like pulling like real situations. Like what was that process
Yeah.
like writing it and then producing it? Like, can you just kind of walk us through that?
Yeah. I know you're not supposed to do this. Like you're not supposed to text and drive, but I song wrote and drove. Um I just like had this guitar part
Mm,
saved in my phone. And I just like from a night after that night hanging out with her, I got in my car and I just started writing, and then I like wrote a lot of it like on the way home.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, but it was just like a really like cathartic experience because I was processing all these emotions of like, well, do I want to drink again? Like this feeling of like being with somebody and like them feeling uncomfortable because I'm not getting drunk was like a new feeling for me, you know what I'm
mm,
saying? So, yeah, this song is very intimate and like it means a lot to me because it was like a I feel like a pivotal point in my like life where I just like really locked down on like no, this is like what I need to this is what I need to do to better
mhm,
my life. And that same girl, like I say in the thing, like we kissed late October. She had a man, but she said it's all right. Yeah, like part of the reason why I like stopped drinking was because of like a situation with that same girl that like kind of took me out of like doing something that I wouldn't normally do
mm,
sober. So I was like, all of it was very emotional. There was a lot of like growth. I'm very thankful for that time and that
amazing.
experience because
Yeah.
it like really grew me. Um and so I tried like producing the whole song out and like having production on it, and it felt like an Ed Sheeran song,
Mm,
which is just like not my vibe.
yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Like the producer is cold. He's like great, but I just felt like it wasn't like what I wanted it to be.
Mm,
Um, and so I took it to my friends Asher Postman and Steven Martinez, and they're like, "Yeah, we've been producing together. I've known them for a minute. The great guys. Shout out to them." And I was like, "Hey, I have this song that's very intimate, and it's very like "Love Yourself" by Justin Bieber.
mhm,
And I need it to like, but I need it to build a little bit.
yeah.
So like, I need there to be something in there. I want to keep it very simple, very plain Jane. But I need some dynamics in there." So that's basically how I approached it, and I literally gave it to them, and I mean, shout out to them. They really like handled the whole thing. They were like,
Mm,
"How about we do this? We do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's perfect." They're like, what if we should add ad libs in the end course?" I was like, "Nah, it doesn't really need it." And then the producer Steven, he actually his ad libs are in there. I liked his ad libs so much that I kept them in there.
mm,
And when the song comes out, you'll hear it,
yeah.
but because it's not my voice. But I didn't think that it needed it, and as soon as I heard it with it, I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, this sounds really good." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it seemed like you had, I know you touched a little bit on production, but it seemed like you had a really specific, like, sound you're going for. Was that, like, as you're writing, you're like, it seems really chill, really mellow. Was that, like, you always were like, "This is gonna be, like, a chill thing," 'cause it, like does that mean something to you that's, like, chill and relaxed?
Um,
That's just from, like, the little snippets that I've heard. It seems, like,
yeah, yeah,
vibey.
the vibe I was going for more is, like, I wanted people to feel like because it was just me and that person
Mm,
in the room, so I wanted people to feel like it was me, that person, and them sitting in the room, like, in this situation, being faced with the things that I was being faced with. And whenever like my friend Spencer Kane,
yeah, yeah.
he recorded the vocals, he vocal engineered, and he's really, really good at like getting a certain like feeling and emotion and tone out of me.
Mm,
I'm sure he is with everybody, but specifically for me when I work with him, he's like he's always asking like he's like, "Give me more, give me more, give me
mm,
this," to a point where I get a little frustrated. But like it's like I feel like if you don't get frustrated sometimes with like the person you're working with in a certain aspect, like they're not he's pushing me towards greatness. You
mm,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's the thing about Spencer. He's always gonna like ask more of me than I will ask of myself sometimes. So he really like really sculpted out like this way of singing, and I just feel like the vocals came out like really good and
Mm,
you could feel them, and there was a certain way that I sang them that made like me feel like when I listened back that I felt the song
mm,
rather than just listening to it.
yeah.
So
That's great.
mhm.
What's something that with this song going out that you hope that listeners kinda will take away from it? Like, what's your hope for that?
Hmm. I think that I think that as like a hmm. I gotta think about that for a
Yeah, it's good.
second.
And it could just be like a song that you're just like a process song, like for
Yeah,
you.
I think it's more so like I wanted to people to see like I'm a big like proponent of like people can't empathize and like you can't touch people unless you like are vulnerable.
Mm,
So I wanted people to like see a little bit more of like what I've been through in my life and like the things that I've encountered and like for anyone else that's like I had like one of my best friends like like text me like they were going through something. They're like, bro, like, can you send me this? Like, can you
mm,
send me the unreleased version? Because it's like really speaking to me in the situation I'm going through right now. Like, this person was like a really bad influence on me and I had to let them go.
mm.
So I sent them the thing and I was like, yo, that's cool. Like it's already like, speaking to somebody. So
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
yeah.
I can't wait to hear because I feel like everyone has, at some degree, gone through, like, bad influence thing. So, like, even if it's not,
Hmm.
like, sobriety and stuff like that, going through all that stuff, but it's like, it could be family members, it could be all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it'll resonate with a lot of people in many different ways that I can't wait for people to hear it for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. Well, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing
Of
that song, and I can't wait to hear it. It's coming out really soon, guys, so viewers, make
course.
sure
Yeah.
you check that on, when it
January
comes out.
31st.
January 31st. Can't wait. I
Yep.
wanna jump into a couple other topics before we are done.
Yeah.
One of them is SoundCloud. I know that's a a blast from the past, but you
Yeah.
started your music journey, could I say, on SoundCloud? Did you release your first music on SoundCloud, or
I guess technically, I hadn't even like thought about it till like you said something. I guess technically SoundCloud is where I put out actually YouTube
okay.
is the first song I ever dropped. I did a remix of Over My Dead Body by Drake.
Dang, when was
Um
that?
bro, I was
I
like,
wanna know because SoundCloud, I
oh
think the first thing you had with
gosh.
Mackenzie, Benjamin Mackenzie, I think
Yeah.
his name, was 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 8 years ago. So I actually recorded vocals with Mackenzie for that Over My Dead Body remix and released that right before like like the stuff with him came out.
Mm,
So that's the first thing I ever released, and then obviously SoundCloud.
yeah.
Um,
I think "Going
and
Down" was the
then
first song that you released on s
yeah,
like,
going
solo
down was
media.
like the first by myself
Yeah.
song I ever released, which I love that song.
Do you
That
remember
song.
do you remember that feeling of, like, I'm officially putting something out that's, like, solo?
Yeah, it was cool. Like
Yeah?
it was a super dope feeling, and I like sometimes when I'm not excited about releasing music, I have to like go back and like think about that feeling. Like that the Caleb then would be like so gassed about the quality of music that like the Caleb now is making it.
Yeah.
Like Caleb then would be like, "This is amazing. Like, what? Why aren't you like gassed about this, bro?"
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool. Going down, I released that whenever I had like just moved to Nashville, and I was just like, bro, I was just sad. I didn't know anybody. Like
Mm,
really, I didn't have anything really going for me. I was in a new city, away from all my family and friends. And it was just a moment where I like was like kind of just like it's all going down, God. Like I didn't feel like God like really loved me. I didn't
mm.
really feel like much purpose in my life. I was very angsty back then. Um I'm not as angsty now, but like I was very like painting my nails, very
Yeah.
angsty, dyed hair. Uh
You had
but
dreads at one
yeah,
point too, right?
we're not gonna talk about
Yeah.
that.
I was like, "Hey, if you going there, I'm gonna bring up the dreads because I remember
Nah.
I think the first, um, maybe the first kinda, like influence that I had from of, like, just knowing like, seeing your stuff was you getting your hair
Mhm.
cut by, someone that you know, one of your friends. It was like they were cutting your hair
Oh
off,
my
I think with
god.
scissors, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Dude, this guy is crazy, I love this." That was a couple years ago, but I didn't wanna
Yeah,
get off I didn't wanna get off the tangent that you're on, but I was like, "I'm gonna bring up the
no, no,
dreads."
you're fine. That's I've tried to expunge everything offline of my dread era. Like, well, I'll just say it at that. Like, I've taken everything down that I possibly can. It was an interesting time.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
People used to
You're going
nah,
back.
people used to like stop me at the red lights and be like, "Yo, you got that gas?" I'm like, "I don't sell drugs. I know I look like it, but I don't." So,
Didn't mean to derail you off of what you were saying earlier, so
no, you're totally fine. You were totally
but
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying SoundCloud.
Mhm,
Yeah, I started off SoundCloud. I actually did I forgot that I did a John Bellion cover, which is
mhm.
crazy. Um, and I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh gosh, this is so bad." I was like, "How does this joint have 540 plays? This is bad." Like,
Dude, it's
yeah.
that's the thing, like, I think every artist I mean, you've seen, like, Ed Sheeran reacting to his first stuff, and it's like I mean, it's cool though, because like, if you go from there to now, it's like, dude, you've
Mhm.
gone leaps and bounds, and it's like, dude,
Yeah.
that's insane, but it's like, you have to go through those cringy moments of, like, writing bad
Yep.
songs, covering bads and, like, doing bad
Yeah.
cover, and you're like, "Oh, man, alright."
Yeah, yeah, it was I was like, "Alright, oh, okay, I would not have chosen to do that. That's interesting. Interesting route you chose."
I
But
love it.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff on SoundCloud that I actually, like, just forgot about. Um,
So viewers, if you wanna see some deep cut stuff, go to his SoundCloud and then tag him in it.
gosh, do not do well, you can do that, but, like, just know, like, the stuff I got coming out this year, way better.
I love
Um,
that, man. Well, I wanna
yeah.
jump into a little bit of collaboration. I know we played the game about
Mhm.
collaboration, and inside
Yeah.
SoundCloud, you had some collaboration, but, it's really
Mhm.
cool to see, like, inside your artist profile on Spotify that, like, I could say maybe, like, 40 to 50% of your songs are a lot of collaboration with artists, and which is really cool. I think
Mhm.
that's a really unique thing, like, I mean, we named so many of them earlier, but, like, it seems like that's an important part of your process, and, like, so, like, why do you collaborate for yourself?
Um, I just, like I'm not good enough without anybody else. I'm just I'm just playing. My songs are trash without anybody else touching them. No, I like get bored really easily.
Mm,
So I get bored with like the knowledge that I have. And sometimes I'm just like I don't really like I like how other people do things differently
mhm,
than I would do it because it sparks innovation within me. It inspires me. It's like I would have never done that way. That's interesting. And like I'm always the type of artist that like I have to find it interesting in order to like feel like it's worth pursuing.
mm,
I'm sure every artist is like that. No one wants to be like, yeah, this is boring. Cool, let's do it.
yeah,
But I don't know. I really and a lot of times when I'm feeling uninspired, I like to write and collab with other people
mm,
because it just lightens the load a little bit. Um, with Spencer specifically, we have like 8 songs
mhm,
that are still in the tuck. Like we have a lot of music together because we just work so well together.
mm,
Like, and we're kind of in the same vein. Yeah, probably releasing some stuff with my friend Mikey, with Aaron Dews. Shout out to them. Uh, yeah, I like collabing with people, man. I like all the people that I collab with. Like, I would like hang out with them outside of music. Like, I've played Fortnite with all of them. You know, sat there and like talked about life with all of
mm,
them. But I just like the community aspect of it. You
yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
What does, your process look like when you're collaborating? Do you normally like, when you're writing, does it normally look like you guys going off, writing and coming back together, or you guys, like, kinda just, like, running lines constantly together?
Mm. Lately it's like we'll get into the studio, Aaron will play some beats for me and I'll see like which one I like kind of want to work on. Or it'll be like I have this idea and then we'll produce it out. And then if I have something pre-written, we'll record that and then like record a second verse. Or if it's just from scratch, we'll literally Aaron and I did a song 2 weeks ago. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever done. And we do like scans, which is basically
Mm,
like we're freestyling. So we'll just freestyle over the beat like 8 times and then pick out parts that we like.
that's awesome.
And then we'll write lyrics to those.
Mm,
Um, yeah. I mean, it just depends. There's like no like I don't have a formula, I don't have a specific way that I do stuff. Because if I'm writing for somebody else, I'm like, okay, how do you do it? Do you do it just like I've written a bunch of songs just me and a guitar and voice memos.
mm,
But then I've also like full setup, tune and verb on my vocal, and I'm freestyling.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
a dream collaborator that, like, if you could reach anyone, who's that person?
John Bellion.
Oh, yeah?
John Bellion. Yeah, bro. He's just the thing is, like, I'm always after writing, like, a phenomenal song.
Mhm.
Like, I don't wanna just, like, write a song and be like, "Yeah, that's cool." I wanna write hits,
Mm.
you know? That's, like I wanna write stuff that, like, resonates with people and, like, is, like, crazy catchy,
Yeah.
and I feel like John Bellion is just, like, a dude that, can just write really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really produce, so I'm like, it's cool. The production is cool, but like I more so like am after John Bellion for like the writing aspect. I'm like, I want to sit in a room and like be like, okay, yeah, I am trash and get better. Like, because that's the only way to get better is to
Yeah.
be surrounded by people that are better than you.
Mhm.
So he would definitely be a dream collaborator.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in the collaborating world though. He like is obviously
Yeah.
I feel like everything he puts out, he's bringing people in. His live stuff is like bringing people in. So like, dude, it might not be that far
Mhm.
away for you. I'll be honest with you.
I don't know. That's up to God, man. That is really at this point. Yeah, it's he would be a cool
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I mean, I say like I love Kendrick Lamar, but I'm like I
Mm.
don't even know if I'd want to collab with him. He's just so good. I'm like, yeah, we'll just let him rock, you
Dude,
know.
you're selling yourself short. I would not be
Nah,
surprised. Come on, dude. No, I
yeah.
gotta hype you up just a little bit, dude. You got
Thank
some
you.
good folks. I mean, Spencer too. He said that you
Yeah,
are insane. So you got
thank
people
you.
behind you, man. You got people behind you.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. That's really the only person that I'm like, because realistically, man, like if I can just come up with my homies
Mm,
and we just make music with each other and like that's like the dream, you
mhm.
know. Obviously I want to work with John Bellion because he's one of the greatest songwriters of our like time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Post Malone would be cool to work with, you know, not the country
I was gonna
stuff. I
say you
don't
jumping to the
like
country now.
not that it's bad, it's just not my bag, you
Yeah.
know, it's not like what I like.
Yeah.
The Kid Leroy would be cool to work with.
Mm,
Uh Last would be really cool to work with. Um
I love that,
Yeah.
dude.
I'd love to meet Neo. He's one of my biggest inspirations. I don't and you know, obviously Chris Brown,
Mhm.
that'd be tough.
Dude,
Uh,
that's a
yeah.
lineup. I love that. That's a great lineup, dude.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
sick. Awesome. Well, I know we're getting close to our time to be done, but
yeah.
I want to quickly touch on live shows because I've seen some of your live stuff,
Mm,
dude. You got really nice falsetto, really cool vibe whenever you're playing live shows. The stuff on Instagram is so cool.
thank
Do you
you.
have a favorite song when you're playing live that you're like you're always looking forward to playing?
Um, there's a song that's unreleased called Let 'Em Go.
Mm,
That I have that I love the mess out of that song. I just love that song. I love playing it. I always feel like good and confident when I sing it because I'm like in my head I'm like this is a banger.
mm.
Like I'm like no one's gonna tell me that like this song isn't good. So
Is there a
um,
release date for that song, or is that still just gonna be in the future?
oh gosh, I mean my friend Isaiah and I are working on the production right now, so
Okay,
probably end of summer
heard it
or
here
like
first.
early fall. Yeah,
Okay, that's dope, dude.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's amazing. And do you have, like, a moment on stage where you're like you're kinda like, this is, like, a one that I'll kind of keep forever? Like, is there a time when you're playing live, you're like, "This was a good peak moment?"
Hmm. Um, I don't think there's like one that really sticks out. Oh, there was one song I did at Tin Roof that I just had like a bunch of friends come out and like the set felt really really good.
Mm,
And like it's always cool whenever like even being as a small artist when all your friends like know your song and like they're like, "Yeah, sing that one." Yeah, and you can hear them singing it back to you
mm.
like it's always a good feeling. But that Tim Roof show, Kane was actually at that one. I had all my friends, they like performed there. So yeah, that was a really good one. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that one.
yeah. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
As we close out, dude, thanks so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
Thank you for
appreciate you
having me.
just sharing all that, and, yeah, it was great talking to you. For people that want to kinda keep up to date with everything that you're doing, where can they go to,
Mhm.
like, see the music and kinda just stay up to date?
Yeah, All the socials, man. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
Mm,
my Spotify. I'll be dropping a song at least every month of this year.
dude,
So
that's big.
be on the lookout for new music. It's coming.
That's amazing.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And make sure everyone check out January 31st is when Bad Influence comes out. So by the time this is out, it's actually out. So make sure you guys go check that. And yeah, dude, thanks so much for hanging with me.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you guys so much for watching another one of Studio One Live, and we'll catch you later.